Welcome back to Your Dose. We're the plug for all things prevention.
And today I'll be your host. My name is Israel, and I'm just gonna go around for names. We have
Hi, my name is Blitz.
Hi, I'm Annalise. I'm a junior at New Bern High School, and this is my first time on the podcast.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm a sophomore at New Bern High School, and this is my first time at the podcast.
and today's prescription is culture and religion, and in that beliefs and values. We're gonna touch on many different topics. So yeah, here we go. To begin, I would just want to talk about our culture and religion and how we were brought up and how that intertwined with the way we were raised. Me personally, my family isn't a big church family. Like my mom grew up Catholic. She was forced to go to church, but as soon as she like got to a certain age, when my grandma wasn't like consistent with bringing her to church, she like just stopped. Like she didn't really find connection with religion. Um, she like does here and there well, she'll like say she'll pray or certain things, but because of that, I didn't grow up with a certain set religion that I can really like identify with. But when anyone asks me, I'd always say I'm Christian. But as of right now, I don't really have a religion. Um, yeah, and it was just because of the way I was brought up. Like we're not really a religious household, so um, yeah, um, but yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm religious either. I guess I'm open to people's religions and stuff. I don't see why people should be talked down upon for having different religions or different like views on the world. Um, I've gone to Sunday school before and to church as well when I was with my stepmother's mother. And it was a nice experience, honestly. It wasn't like anything harmful, and I wouldn't say I would go again, but like it was something that was able to help me like expand my views as well as just being at school in general.
So my family, we're Lutheran. We get that from my mom's side. My dad's a Christian too, but he wasn't always like practicing necessarily. He'll listen to gospel music here and there and like pray when he needs to, but he wasn't the really go to church type. Um, but my mom, she comes from a very religious family. My grandfather was a minister, and my grandmother always taught Sunday school. So every Sunday, all my life when I was little, we would go to church. Everyone, me, my brother, my siblings, all my cousins, everyone, we would all go to church. And not only was it a religious experience, but it was also just like, all right, we're starting a new week. Everyone gets to see each other before they go off to their own activities. We're a really busy family. Everyone's involved in everything. So it was a really great time every week that we could see each other while doing something that, benefits you, that makes you feel better, clears your head for the week. So, yeah, I feel like growing up, religion was a really guiding light. As we got older, my church closed. So there's not a lot of Lutheran churches in the area. We live in a predominantly Catholic area. So it was hard to find another church that was open and nearby us that was in our religion. So we ended up, me and my mom, going to a Catholic church for a little while with one of her friends. And that was a very different experience because I feel like Lutheranism is a lot more relaxed. Like, not like relaxed, like obviously it's a religion, like there's rules, there's things that you have to do, but it wasn't as procedural as the Catholic churches, I noticed. Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot more interactive, and the pastor tells anecdotes more than like a Bible story. So it felt a lot more personable in the Lutheran church than in the Catholic church. But I kind of like how like consistent everything is when you go to the Catholic church. Like you come every week and you know what's going to be done, what's going to be said. So I guess like either way, it's the same kind of factor in your life, but yeah, very two experiences.
Yeah, you said your dad is Christian and your mom and her side of the family is Lutheran. I'm not really familiar with Lutheran, but um did your dad like how was it with him adapting to your mom and that like kind of overshadowing you and your brother's religion? Like did he adapt well to like become more Lutheran or
Yeah, so Lutheranism is a branch of Christianity. It's under Protestantism, so it comes from Germany. My mom's family's from Germany, so it's also a cultural thing. It's been passed down since Germans came to America. But yeah, so my dad, he kind of let my mom take the lead in that because he felt like religion was a good way for us to have like guidance and consistency in our lives, and that's something that he really values. So he was all in on my mom and taking us to church, and anything that we needed to do for church, he wanted us to do it. Even if it wasn't like what he knew growing up, he was all for it because he saw the value in it.
that's good.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't really grow up in a religious household, but my mom, she was like, she prayed when she needed to, and like she would go to church like here and there, but it wasn't like a every Sunday type of thing. And like my family like that I live around, like they weren't really like religious either. So like I just grew up like just knowing of God, but like not really knowing him. And then like a few years ago, like probably like 3 years ago, that's when I started like getting close to God like on my own. And it was like really hard because like I had like no idea like about like the religion or anything about it. And I didn't call myself a Christian. I just like, oh yeah, I love God. Like, yeah, I love Jesus.
Mhm.
But it wasn't until like 2 years ago, like that I actually like started like paying attention to like his word, and like I was actually like intrigued in like what like his like word would say and like what we had to do. And then I just like took it like in my own hands, and I just started like reading the Bible. I started praying more and like just like praying that like he would give me like a peace of mind because I was going through so much. But I just gave it to him, and I let him handle it. And then I found myself like just drifting away from him again. Um and then I would just like go back to like my like simplest manners, and like just like do like what this world wants me to do, and like it was just like bad.
Mhm.
And then like one of my friends, like I always talked about how I wanted to go to church, cuz like my uncles and like my cousins stuff like that, they go to church, but like they're in Florida, so like I never like really had a church to go to over here, and I don't really have family over here, so I just never found myself going to church. um, and then my friend told me that she goes to this one church, and she said I could come with her. And then I started going, and then I noticed how like I started like getting closer to God. So then I kept reading the Bible, and I kept praying, I kept going to church every Sunday, and sooner rather than later, I just started like seeing like a change over my life. Like he just changed my life completely. Like I was this new person completely. And that's when I realized how much like God really like works over like people's life, and how much he could change someone. And since then I just like decided to trust him and just give my life like fully to him.
Mhm.
And I'm like a new person now, so
That's big. That's great. That literally what you're speaking on ties exactly what like we're going into next. Speaking into your religion, like since you said like 3 years ago is when you like really started to become like invested. Since then, like what have some beliefs and values that you've picked up through the Bible? I know different Bible verses. I know like I see different Bible verses online and I appreciate all religion. I think like religion is great. I think it just creates a like you were saying, like it creates a guidance for kids or for anyone just to become a better person and creates like a set of morals and values for people. Like no matter if you believe no matter what you believe in, I feel like the just the overall values that it brings is just like great. So I want to know like if you've picked up any or what have you picked up from being Christian?
So I definitely like the way I talk to people and like the way I like handle situations. Like I used to be very like rude, nonchalant, and like I didn't care like no one would like tell me to do it like what like was good for me or not. And like once like I saw like what his words said and like how we're supposed to live because I'm a Christian, so like I'm supposed to live as a Christian. I definitely like started like paying more attention to it, and like he like I would just like pay attention to like what his word said and how we were supposed to act. Um, and I definitely like had like that definitely had an impact on the way I acted and the way I like respected people because I would not care. Like I wouldn't care at all. Like I would just treat people like they were like trash and it was so bad. And like that's not like good. And it's like being like a Christian or like even like with whatever religion like you're part of, like I feel like it just like affects you like mentally because it's like you could like be like talking to other people and like not knowing how like you're affecting them and like that could really like hurt them, you know? So it's like seeing like the way that Jesus or like God wants us to love other people, I feel like that affects like if it has an effect on yourself and not other people because you sit here and like talk to other people like they don't matter and like that could cause them to like be depressed or like suicidal or like do like drugs or whatever they have to do. But if you're like someone could be having like thoughts like that or like they could be doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing and like by you like loving and being kind to them and like showing them that they're here for a purpose, like that could completely like change their whole life. So I definitely feel like that was like his like God's word was like a really like big value and impact in my life on like how I treat other people and how I like treat myself as well.
Wow, that's big. You talk about like the purpose that it brings you, like, and I feel that like I just hear so much stories of like how God has like come into people's lives and like give them purpose. Like,
Hmm.
just a random story. My old barber actually he was a past addict. He used to do different drugs and he had gone through a sober house, and I met him actually through because I know someone personally who was dealing with drug problems. So like they met through the sober house, and he would tell me like he would just like spit game to me while I'm in the chair, and he would just tell me how like God has really helped him and like has brought him that purpose, and like is really like kind of showing he found God, and like it's kind of showing him like the better way. And I think that's just big, like, and I think like all religions can do that, like
Hmm.
no matter what, like if it because of the set values that they have, like I think it's just great, like they can keep you away from drugs and alcohol, knowing like that like those things aren't good for you, like because of those values that they have instilled in the
Yeah.
religion. So I love that you were able to like find like more of a purpose. Yeah. Do you guys have any?
To kind of add on to what you're saying, like a lot of people doubt religion. A lot of people are going to be quick to say, okay, but what if you're wrong? But what if this? What if that? But something like my mom always said was, even if, when the end of your life comes and you don't, and whatever you believe in doesn't turn out to be true, if you lived your life following a religion, you lived your life following goodness. Like, no
Mhm.
religion preaches you to be a
That's
bad
facts. Yeah.
person. Like,
Hmm.
every religion, like every major religion, the goal is to have kindness, to show love. And so if you live by a religion all your life, even if, it's wrong in the end or it turns out different, you lived your life in a good way with good intentions and you left an impact, like a good impact. So
Yeah.
there's really like, it's a win-win with religion. Like if you're believing And if you're following the word of God, whether it be of God, of any religion, whatever you believe in, if you believe in it and if you stick with it and if you follow those guidances, you're going to end up doing something good for yourself, for others. And like Amanda was saying, like, you never know what anyone else is going through. So by embodying your religion, by embodying that love that God has for you, you're showing that love to other people every day. And through you, you're sharing his love. So there's really, like, you can't really go wrong with having a religion.
Yeah. Me not being like the most like religious, like growing up, like now that I'm starting to like become into my own person and find who I am, I do want to read the Quran and read the Bible just to like make sure that I'm living with the best values that I could be living with, and the different morals, and taking different things from different religions just to be like a sponge. That's something I want to incorporate into my future. But, yeah.
For me personally, I think one of the things that just going to Sunday school and just being exposed to Christianity, even though I'm not personally religious, has been art. I've done art like almost all my life, whether I remember it or not. But during those Sunday school sessions, we would talk about like what they were doing in like, I guess like the actual church, like because there were two separate buildings. But we would also be doing like little arts and crafts things. We could be like drawing or like making little Christmas ornaments, just like something. And it like brought us all together. And like I said, I'm not personally religious, but that moments like those have impacted me and like my own art journey that I've had so far.
Yeah, I think sometimes we forget how much religion impacts our culture, like music and art. Like some of the most beautiful art in the world is in cathedrals, in mosques, in churches.
Yes.
Like,
Especially like the stained glass and then the
Yeah.
portraits. It's just like so beautiful.
so yeah, once again, like, even if we don't really see it, like, I feel like religion is everywhere all around us. And
Yeah.
it's something that I feel like we take for granted a lot, especially in a country like this where we have that freedom to practice our religion. Like, there are some people who can't. And we just, like, I feel like I often forget, like, how lucky and how blessed I am that I can say that I believe in God, and I can post a Bible verse on my Instagram, or I can read my Bible, or I can wear my cross. Like, whatever it may be, like, that's a blessing in and of itself, that you can share that and be open about that, because some people really can't. And so it's really all around us.
Yeah. Some people are born into a religion or that they might not agree with, you
Right.
know. But I think we touched on that. Moving on to the next topic, I think, like, I just wanna know, like, I'm sure, like, church is part of your community, and I'm sure your churches, and we're all in the youth prevention, so that's like our community. But what are like, who and like what different groups of people are part of your personal community? Like for me, it's I would probably say the football team is my community. The YLC, just people that have the same kind of beliefs as me and kind of want to push the same things or have the same goals. Obviously like my family, but yeah, those are kind of my that's kind of my community, and those are kind of the people that I surround myself with to like better myself, and different friends that like I pick my friends wisely. So different like the couple friends that I do have, that's really my people. Like yeah, I just think it's very important to have those people around you, because like you could be going through something, and like everyone goes through something. Like you wake up, you're just in a bad mood, you have a test in the morning, or you just whatever you're going through, like you lost a family member. Community is just important, just to be able to go, just to have people to go to. For me, my community has personally helped me with um staying away from drugs and alcohol through youth prevention, and just through being on the football team, like just wanting to perform the best for the football team and be there mentally. And I feel like I want to be able to do that under the influence. Um, I'm surrounded by a lot in my life by people who do use, and it's different just to be the outlier, the person who's not partaking in any of those activities. But yeah, that's really what's important for me. But
Yeah. For me, what I would say is my personal community is, other than my friends, would be two people specifically. One is my teacher, Miss Kelly. She's one of the best teachers I've ever had, and she's given me so many like opportunities through art and just everything in general. And she's helped me when I didn't even realize that I needed like her specific help. She's just a good person to talk to, someone that I can always rely on, even though she's a teacher. And then the next is my therapist, um, for obvious reasons, but I've been with her since I think eighth grade now, and she's just been very helpful. She's always just there to listen in my corner, and she's helped talk me out of like any sort of, what is the word? Like any sort of possible like substance abuse or just anything harmful like that in general. And obviously youth leader, because these people are awesome here. Like, I love you guys.
Mhm.
And yeah, just like everybody here, and we all just have similar thoughts. We share like the same goal. We want to get better and we want to help people as we do. So I think that's very important to have in my own personal community.
Yeah, I love what you said about your teacher because my parents both work in education, so I feel like growing up I always had a little bit of an extra appreciation for my teachers. But last year I went through a really hard time, and in school, like the first thing I wanted to do was go back to school. Like the minute something bad happened in my life, I just wanted to be in school with my teachers. I wanted to learn because that's my safe space. So my community, I feel like it's really in school, like my teachers, my classmates. I like to challenge myself. I like to be around people who challenge me, who want me to be better. So I just feel like that's where I fit in. That's where I feel like I'm at my best. Like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like that's my purpose, to learn to get better.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like you said, YLC, everyone here, it's literally like such a big family, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But every new person that comes in, they have something different to offer to the group. So it's like it's never enough. Like we can always be adding, we can always be changing. So this has just been a really life-changing experience for me. And I really think that as you get into high school, you start to realize like not everyone is worth your time, not everyone is worth your friendship, and not everyone deserves that from you. So you have to be really careful about who you spend your time with, who you surround yourself with, because you really are the average of like everyone that you hang out with the most. So
Yeah.
if you're hanging out with people who aren't doing the right thing, who are not like-minded individuals, you know, you could stray off from your guidance, from your values, from your beliefs, and make decisions that you're not gonna be proud of down the line. So I think that your community really does, like, not that your community defines you, because you also define your community, like you choose who you're around, but since you're in control of that, it also does define you. Like the people who you are with, they have a big impact on who you are as a person.
yeah, you want to
Yeah.
be around people who better you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say my community is probably my church. Even though like I don't really like talk to the people in my church, they like encourage me to like do good and like make sure I'm doing as God wants me to do. Cause I definitely feel like as a Christian, like you have a standard. Like you can't just like say like I mean a lot of people do say they're Christians and then they do like the opposite God will want you to do.
That's
But
like a majority of people.
yeah, a lot of people. But I feel like me being a Christian, like I have a standard on like the stuff like that I have to do and I can't do. Yeah, like it's my responsibility like if I do it or not do it, but like I'm not gonna sit here and like just like do drugs or like curse people out or like do all of this because like she was saying like I'm like projecting like my community, the Christian community, and it's like I'm saying I'm a Christian, though I'm over here turning around and like smoking and like talking bad about people or cursing people out, and it just like doesn't really look good. So like I definitely do feel like the like Christianity has like a really big impact on like the way I like act and what I do, because it's like God is looking at me like all the time, and it's like, dude, like it really affects like what happens like in the like once I like die or whatever. Like it really impacts like what I did in this lifetime. So like I really take that like for granted, because it's like I I I was given this lifetime for a reason. I'm not just gonna waste it and do like something like that's not like worth it, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You
And
think like the it really impacts your integrity, like just doing the right thing while no one's watching? Because I mean, you can. I mean, I guess integrity doesn't even work for you because God's always watching.
hmm
So, because I heard you say like just doing the right thing, I'm sure that's like really big for you, right?
yeah, because it's like I like there's a lot of times where, cause like we're human, like we always messed up, like we're not perfect. But there's a lot of times where like when I like do like slip up, like for example, like I give attitude to someone or I treat somebody bad, like I feel like that guilt. And even though I know that's not like coming from God, cause like he doesn't just like put that guilt on me,
Mm-hmm.
it's still like I have like this like voice in my head always telling me, Amanda, like God is watching over you. Like if Jesus was standing right in like right next to you, will you like act this way? Will you do that? Will you say that to that person? So I always like do like keep that in mind. Like God didn't call you to treat people bad. God didn't call you to smoke. God didn't call you to like do all of this stuff. So like don't do it. And also like I feel like by me like being the way I am, like I could like inspire other people to like do good and like want to do better. Cause it's like as a follower of Christ, like it's not just like me like being better like for myself and like trying to get closer to God. It's also like I'm supposed to like get people closer to him and get people to like do better for like themselves and like just in general. So like I do personally feel like having like God like being the center of my life like definitely helps me like help other people get better and like their struggles or like just in general. So that's that. And YLC too, like it helps me like it's like the same thing like with like Christianity. Like I'm representing YLC, so why would I do like all of this stuff
Mm.
when I'm representing YLC,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like YLC definitely has like a big impact in my life too, because it's like I'm not in this leadership for no reason. Like I'm here for a reason, and majority is to like spread awareness and like tell people like what's good and what's not good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
Mm.
the same way I think about it. It's like, why am I gonna not only because that's just not what I believe in, but why am I gonna do drugs and alcohol when I'm like dedicating myself to a program that's
hmm
literally against that? Like it's like completely opposite of what like I believe in and what my community like believes in. So I know I surrounded myself with the right people, the right organization like YLC that don't rock with like drinking or doing other drugs. So I know I'm in the right place when we all have the same mindset and we're not doing those things. Um yeah. The next was kind of like what has your community like shaped your beliefs and values, but you touch on it a lot. But I don't know if you guys have anything to say about like how has your community directly like affect your beliefs and values?
No, yeah. So, like I said, like being around like-minded individuals, I feel like that really holds you accountable, like Amanda was saying, because if everyone around you has the same goal, if everyone around you just wants to get better, be a better person, get closer to God, whatever it may be for you and your community, like if you're around these people all the time, it gives you less and less space to slip up, less and less space to stray from your morals. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that not necessarily does your community shape your values, because I think as of right now, like my values have been instilled in me. Like my parents have instilled in me my values since the day I was born. And yes, they change with time, but at my core, like I'm the same person. I think what my community really does when it comes to my values is they hold me accountable and they make sure that I'm upholding those values. And so, yeah, I don't necessarily think that my community has shaped my values. I think they've made me a lot more open-minded. Like everyone comes from somewhere different in these places. So it's like you get to see things that you wouldn't have seen before. But I do think that accountability is a really big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's literally exactly what Amanda was like saying, how she feels held accountable by YLC or by God watching you. Yeah, I think that's literally it. Accountability. Like,
Yeah,
go
it
ahead,
would
Beck.
just be hypocritical to be like following the word of God or following what YLC is about and then just completely go back on
Mhm.
it, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
It like what is the point in that?
Yeah.
That would
That's just
just
fake.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like it just like
Yeah,
I don't know how to
I
describe it, but
agree
you
with
know?
like what both of you guys are saying, especially with you, like how like you're saying how like the people around you like really affect like the way you act and stuff like that. Because I feel like a lot of people like, let's say you could like just like, let's say you could be like the best person you've ever been, and then you just hang around with people who like just are just horrible. Like they just talk bad about people, do drugs, curse people out, and do all of this stuff while you're over here like trying to better yourself and do all of this stuff. Though you may think that like, oh, like you may think like, oh yeah, like I'm doing good. I know what I'm supposed to be doing and I know what I'm not supposed to be doing. I'll be fine. But in reality, it's like you having those people around you, like it literally affects like if it affects you, like
Yeah.
you may not realize that, but like sooner or later you're gonna start becoming like those people like slowly, because it's like they're
Encouraging. Yeah.
encouraging you
Encouraging.
to
Yeah.
yeah, that to like do like what they do, and it's like two people against one. Like
Yeah.
slowly you're gonna start becoming like them. So I definitely do agree with like how like you have to be careful with like the people you do hang around, because some people like they're they're just not good
Yeah.
and they don't have the best intentions.
Mhm.
So, and I agree with like um her too. I agree because it's like how like just like, because I'm pretty sure I touched on it too, like how like you say like you're a Christian, or like you say like you believe in this stuff, and then just turn around and like do the whole opposite of it.
Mhm.
It's just like it doesn't look good, because at the same time it's like you're doing it yourself, but it's like I feel like a lot of the times, especially with like Christians, like people will like look at Christians in a way that is like it's just in a way that isn't like we're not actually supposed to be seen, like because a lot of Christians, there's either like Christians that are like very lukewarm, meaning like they just say they're Christians and then they don't really like act on it, and then there's other Christians that are like really like strict on the word. So it's like those two together is like, okay, so like what are you really? Because you're saying you're a Christian, but you're doing all of this stuff.
Mhm.
But then some Christians are over here like being like
Really
very
dedicated.
yeah,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
dedicated about it. And I just feel like it affects like the whole community itself. Same
Mm.
with YLC, like you're in YLC, why are you smoking? Why are you doing drugs? Why are you promoting all of this stuff? Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So
Right.
I agree with both of their points.
And I think like with that, like in both your faith and then in this community here, your overall goal is to try to get more people to think the way that you
Mhm.
think and see the world the way that you do. So if you want people to believe in God and you're their experience of God, like you are showing them your personal experience with God and you're showing it to them in a negative light, if you are doing bad things, if you have a bad demeanor about you, that's someone's experience with God. You're misrepresenting him. And
Yeah.
same thing
I
with
agree.
leadership, with your family. Like you're upholding a reputation. If you want people to follow the way that you live, you have to live in a way that's appealing to them, a way that they see themselves being better and
Mhm.
doing what you're doing. You can't expect people to want to change if they don't see that the change is going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't understand how much influence that, like, basically anyone can have, even like God himself,
Yeah.
you know? Because if you hang out around people who do bad things in general, then you're going to end up doing bad things in general. And whether you like it or not, that's just how it's going to end up.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. No, your group is so important. Who you pick is so important. Like if you're Christian and you're just hanging around like people who are smoking and drinking, even if you say you're on top of your stuff, just being around those people isn't like following your values, because you're surrounding yourself with people who are a negative influence on you. So it's just very important to pick the right people and be around those like-minded people to just better yourself. It's a continuous growth. Like life is just to learn and grow and just experience. So as long as you know what you want that experience to generally be about, which is through your values and beliefs, the people you pick is just like an assistant to that. Just people who can help you grow,
They
Yeah.
also reflect on you. Like, if you want people to like see you as like a good person, a kind-hearted person, a Christian, and like stuff like that, and like you're hanging around with people who do the opposite, it's like they're reflecting on you. So it's like people are gonna like, if people don't know you, they're gonna think you're like the people you hang around with just because they all do the same thing. And same with like yourself. Like you could say you're like a Christian and stuff like that, and then like if the people like you hang around with, like let's say like if I would have like said like I'm a Christian and then I'm hanging around with them and they're just like doing like horrible things, and like you come in the room, you're gonna think I'm like them because I'm friends with them, and it's like vice versa. So
Yeah.
they
Right.
really like reflect on you.
Mhm.
And that's also not to say that you can't be friends with people who maybe are struggling, because everyone's on their own journey with God, or maybe they're just on their own journey within themselves. But if you're in those kinds of friendships where your friends are making bad decisions or they're doing things that are harming themselves, it's your responsibility as a good friend to check them and remind them like they have a purpose. Like God gave you healthy lungs, not to destroy them. God gave you like a working body, not to ruin it by doing drugs. Like you have a purpose in your life, and as a friend, you have a responsibility to your friends, and same them to you. You have to help guide them. If you're a really good friend, you would guide your friends towards a better mindset, a better way of life. Like you're not just going to sit there and let your friends damage themselves and say, oh, it's okay because I'm doing the right thing. Because like Amanda said, like that's a reflection of you. And as a good friend, like you wouldn't just sit there and let that happen.
Yeah, just because you're doing well, like that makes you able to bring other people up.
Yeah.
Like you have to make sure you're doing okay first, make sure you're healthy, your mindset is good, and that allows you to bring other people up with you. And I mean, as a friend, I feel like that's just your responsibility. Like I feel like you should feel like the need to help your friends.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're at a good ending point. I think everyone gave their best thoughts and their values, and I appreciate everyone for sharing what they believe in and feeling comfortable enough to open up. Yeah, that's a wrap.
Period. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
next week. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
Bye,
watching and
guys.
listening. Bye.